COVID-19 death hit all-time high since pandemic hit the country. More cops on duty at roadblocks during total lockdown. Good evening, I'm Azlani. Welcome to News at 10. Malaysia recorded the highest number of deaths related to COVID-19 virus over the last 24 hours with 98 fatalities. Today's daily infections also hit all-time high as it breached the 9,000 mark for the first time at 9,020 cases in a single day. The figure is the highest since the pandemic hit Malaysia in January last year, bringing the cumulative figure for positive COVID-19 cases to 558,534. Selangor continued to top the daily case with 2,836 cases, followed by Kelantan with 907, Negeri Sembilan 898, Kuala Lumpur 789 and Sarawak 726. With 98 deaths in a single day, the country's death toll rise to 2,650. Over the last 24 hours also saw 5,527 patients had made full recoveries and discharged from health facilities nationwide, bringing the total recovery figures to 479,666 individuals. As of this noon, there are 76,218 active cases in the country. From the figure, 844 are currently receiving treatment in the ICU and 430 require ventilator support. Today is the fifth day in a row where the country saw a sharp increase of positive COVID-19 cases in the span of 24 hours. Malaysia's infectivity rate currently stands at 1.15, with Health Ministry projecting that it will reach 1.2 if the compliance towards SOP remain low. More police personnel will be on duty to ensure the total lockdown to be enforced from 1st to 14 June is adhered to. Home Minister Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin said that 55,000 police personnel will now be deployed to man roadblocks as well as to ensure standard operating procedure compliance. This is more than 37,000 personnel that are on duty currently.
Selain itu, KDN melalui PDRM akan meningkatkan sekatan jalan raya yang ada. Buat masa ini kita ada lebih kurang 600 sekatan jalan raya di seluruh negara. Mulai daripada 1 hari bulan Jun, kita akan tambah sehingga boleh mencecah 800 sekatan jalan raya.
He was speaking to media after chairing a meeting with heads of agencies ahead of the total lockdown. He added 15,000 personnel from other enforcement agencies under the ministry, such as the Immigration Department, RELA, ESCOM, and the Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, and the Malaysian Border Security Agency, AXEM, to also be on duty during this lockdown period. According to Datuk Seri Hamzah, spot checks will also be carried out by the SOP compliance team, together with the International Trade and Industry Ministry, Human Resources Ministry and Works Ministry. The ministry, he said, has also asked the Immigration Department to carry out more operations to weed out illegal immigrants, especially at foreigners' settlement areas. Datuk Seri Hamzah said the authorities are prepared to accept more detainees with the opening of satellite prisons and detention centres. Majority of motorists who went through the roadblock near the Gombak Toll Plaza on Saturday morning had valid reasons and permission to travel interstate. Gombak Chief Police ACP Arifai Tarawih said the number of vehicles was at its peak between 9 a.m. and noon, causing a 1 kilometre to 2 kilometres crawl near the toll plaza.
Andaian kita cuba juga mengesan andaian bahawa adakah mana-mana orang ataupun pengguna jalan raya ni yang cuba mengambil kesempatan keluar dari Lembah Kelang setelah mendengar pengumuman lockdown pada 1 Jun nanti. Yang itu kita dapati setakat ini tidak kita dapat buktikanlah ya. Tidak tepatlah maknanya andaian itu. Kerana kebanyakannya mereka ni adalah pekerja-pekerja dan mempunyai urusan-urusan yang valid, yang dibenarkanlah dan ada kebenaran.
Earlier today, social media users had uploaded the image of the congestion online, alleging that the motorists were escaping the Klang Valley before the full lockdown starts on Tuesday. Meanwhile, ACPRFI said more roadblocks would be mounted and the number of compliance team operations in the district will be increased as a preparation to ensure the public continue to observe the MCO SOP. ...284 locations involved in the simultaneous public sanitization program nationwide will be sanitized starting today. Minister of Housing and Local Government, Dato' Zuraida Kamarudin, said the locations were identified through the latest COVID-19 data.
Dan memberi mesej kepada mereka juga agar mereka lebih berhati-hati dan memastikan mereka mengamalkan SOP. Itu yang penting sekarang. Kendiri, SOP Kendiri. Kerajaan boleh buat tetapi tidak boleh buat 100% unless kecuali dengan kerjasama rakyat.
Dato' Zuraida said this during a press conference in Ampang, Selangor. The Housing and Local Government Ministry under the COVID-19 Public Sanitisation Force so far had completed 25,252 operations nationwide. A total of 2,786,152 Malaysians have received their first and second doses as of yesterday. From the figure, 1,771,810 individuals had received their first vaccine jab, while 1,014,342 have completed the 2 doses regimen. In a tweet on his Twitter account, Health Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Adham said 5 states recorded as the highest number of recipients that have completed both doses are Selangor, with 138,063 doses, followed by Sarawak 96,450, Kuala Lumpur 94,397 and Perak 90,882. As of yesterday, 48.6% or 11,788,915 individuals have registered for the National Immunisation Drive, and Selangor recorded the highest number of registered individuals with 3,159,392 people. The current ongoing Phase 2 of National Vaccination Drive, which began back in April and is expected to be complete by August this year, involved 9.4 million senior citizens, individuals with comorbidity, and persons with disabilities. The Phase 3 of the program is expected to include 13.7 million individuals aged 18 and above, which will commence on May until February next year.
Saya menggigil sebenarnya, air mata saya sebenarnya mengalir. Saya memang cukup sedih.
Masa yang mula-mula tu, dekat sebulan juga saya tak balik. Tak boleh, kita takut.
Ada yang meninggal dengan usia yang terlalu muda.
The rental for traders at the Pasar Harian Selayang wet market in the nation's capital will be waived until the end of the year to ease their financial burden, according to Federal Territory Minister Tan Sri Anwar Musa. He said this would benefit the traders who will begin operating fully at the market's new building from Tuesday. In a Twitter post, Tan Sri Anwar said he received applications from traders to reduce the rental rate. He said the ministry then decided to waive the rent until the year end, and hopefully this would help the traders. The temporary market, meanwhile, will cease operations on Monday. Meanwhile, Tan Sri Anwar said the implementation of the MyMedic at Wilayah Mobile Vaccine Trucks initiative as an alternative to existing vaccination centres would be continued during the 2-week nationwide total lockdown, which begins next Tuesday. Ex-COVID-19 patients are urged to act as ambassadors as they have better understandings about the virus. Kelantan COVID-19 Quarantine and Low Risk Centre PKRC Director Dr. Muhammad Azman Yaakob said by sharing their experiences, former COVID-19 patients would help increase the awareness level among the public to continue observe the SOP stipulated to curb the virus from spreading.
apabila keluar kepada masyarakat nanti dia orang sebenarnya duta yang kempenkan kepada masyarakat lain kesedaran berkaitan dengan COVID. Dalam arti kata lain, mereka ni akan memberi penekanan kepada masyarakat supaya patuh kepada 3C dan 3W itu sendiri. Kekalkan penjarakan, elakkan daripada berada di tempat sempit dan sebagainya.
Dr. Muhammad Azman said this after receiving a contribution of 400 toiletries from Persatuan Kebajikan Kasih Sayang Aisyin Malaysia and kerabat diraja Kelantan, Tengku Ibrahim Farihadin Tengku Faisal. Terengganu Health Director Dr. Noor Azimi Yunus has lamented on the public's poor compliance with the SOPs during the Hari Raya festive period that led to a spike in COVID-19 cases in the state. She implored the people to adhere to the 2-week full lockdown set to begin on June 1st. She said Hulu Terengganu, the state's last remaining green zone as of 15th May, turned red in the blink of an eye as a result of the people disobeying restrictions on interstate travel and home visits to celebrate Hari Raya. In a Facebook post, she said the latest cluster linked to Hari Raya activities involved somebody who travelled from Malacca, spreading the virus to 10 colleagues at the office with contact tracing still ongoing. Dr. Noor Azimi also recalled the story of 14 family members who travelled to attend the funeral of a family member. All of them ended up testing positive for COVID-19. Dr. Noor Azimi called the announcement of a lockdown from 1st June a relief and hoped that this time the people will listen and obey SOPs. The Ministry of Transport, MOT, today confirmed that an aircraft traversing Malaysia airspace recently was indeed an Israeli aircraft. However, the ministry said there were no abnormal flight patterns or loitering carried out within Malaysian airspace by the aircraft. In a statement acknowledging concerns expressed by Malaysians, the ministry said the civil aircraft had followed a commercial flight path used by any civil aircraft overflying Malaysian airspace according to the rules stipulated by the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. The civilian flight took off from Mali in Maldives bound for Paya Lebar, Singapore on Wednesday, 19th May 2021 at 2:55 a.m. As a member of ICAO, MOT act within the organization rules that ensures that overflights are approved based on no reasonable grounds on the threats to the safety and security of Malaysia's sovereignty. The ministry said the approval for overflight was granted to the civilian Boeing 737-400 aircraft registered to Israel Aerospace Industry ELTA. IAI ELTA strictly did not allow for landing or loitering over Malaysian airspace. MOT said Malaysian aviation authorities had determined that the aircraft did not return to Malaysian airspace after arriving at its intended destination in Singapore. Prasarana Malaysia Berhad has called on passengers involved in Monday's LRT accident in the nation's capital to contact it to facilitate the payment of aid to the victims. Prasarana said that as at 8 a.m. today, 83 of the affected passengers have yet to be contacted. In a statement today, Prasarana said it will make a goodwill payment to all passengers involved in the incident. The amount of payment and right to receive will be determined once the complete particulars of passengers are received. According to Prasarana, 130 passengers have been traced so far, with 12 of them being foreigners from Indonesia, the Philippines, Iran, Bangladesh and West Asia. Meanwhile, 62 of the 67 victims who were admitted to Hospital Kuala Lumpur have been discharged. Of the 5 still warded, 2 are in intensive care unit and 3 in normal wards and expected to be discharged in 2 to 7 days. Prasarana Group Acting President and Chief Executive Officer Dr. Nolia Noah said she would like to apologize for any mistakes and shortcomings in the company's handling of the incident. Its main focus now is to extend appropriate support and aid to the affected passengers and their families, while pledging to give full and transparent cooperation to the authorities investigating the incident. In the 8:33 p.m. incident, an empty train which was being test-driven collided with the train carrying 213 passengers in the underground tunnel between the Kampong Baru and KLCC stations. Welcome back. Malaysia will need to do some soul-searching after they lost to Bahrain 2-0 in a FIFA international friendly at the Bahrain International Stadium in Rifah early this morning. This was the last friendly match scheduled for the Harimau Malaya before facing United Arab Emirates on 3rd of June. Bahrain first took the lead in the 41st minute when Mahdi Abdul Jabbar buried a penalty after Irfan Zakaria brought down Abdul Jabbar in the penalty box. Malaysia should have equalised in the 45th minute when Shafiq Ahmad received a brilliant cross from right-back Matthew Davies, but the striker headed it over the bar. In the second half, Bahrain started stronger and got their second goal at the 61st minute when Jassim Marhoun capitalised on a loose touch from goalkeeper Fariza Malias, who didn't deal well with Loredan Krasniqi's innocuous pass. Though the scoreline suggests Malaysia did not fare too badly, it could have been worse if Bahrain were clinical with their chances. Before facing Bahrain, Malaysia lost to Kuwait 1-4 in a test match in Dubai last week. Malaysia will next face the United Arab Emirates on 3rd June in the World Cup 2022 Asian Cup 2023 second-round qualifiers in Dubai. That's it from us this evening. In our top story, COVID-19 death hit all-time high since pandemic hit the country. Join us for updates at noon at 12:30 tomorrow. I'm Azlan Yadani. Stay safe, everyone, and thanks for watching.